I have to create the worst Mario Kart roster of all time, in my opinion, and I only have 24 slots to do so. So let's see who's getting in. The rules are simple. I can only choose characters who have been playable in a Mario game of any kind before. Sports, kart, party. If they were playable in a Mario game of any kind, they are eligible. First is a character that I just needed a Mario representative to enter this list because it is a Mario Kart game after all. We're adding Tanuki Mario into the mix. I don't really care for the character. Yes, he looks adorable, but is so completely unnecessary. I'm not counting all the tour skins as their own separate characters, but Tanuki Mario is his own separate character in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is why he is eligible to make it to this list. He's a great power-up. He's a great costume, but not as an own character. I just don't buy it. Get Tanuki Mario out of here. He belongs here as the first character on this worst list. Next up, in that same vein, we got Cat Peach. Cat Peach, same exact reasonings as Tanuki Mario, just a character that just does not need to be their own separate character, can be a costume for Peach. Doesn't make any sense anymore to be in the game, so we might as well just toss her out. At least when they make the next Mario Kart game, she is included in the worst Mario Kart roster. Next up are two characters that I think are going to be slightly controversial. We got Wario and Waluigi. Before you shut off the video and dislike it, I just gotta say, compared to the Mario Brothers, compared to DK and Diddy, compared to Bowser and Bowser Jr., compared to any other duo, Peach and Daisy, they're the worst. I'm sorry. When I play Mario Kart, I never, ever pick these two characters. It just isn't my thing. They're not my style. I'd rather pick other cooler heavyweights or just taller characters in general. You can blame me. You can give me L's in the comments all you want. I don't care what you say. This is my personal opinion, and I think Wario and Waluigi are more than worthy of making the worst Mario Kart roster. Next up, we have a couple of more Peach alts. First is Peachette. This is a character that has been playable in Mario Kart Tour, actually, but she made her debut in New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, so therefore her appearance counts for this game. I don't really care about Peachette that much. There's hardly any difference from actual Peach, so if I wanted to use Peach, I'm just going to use Peach. I don't need to use Peachette. I like how Peachette is a high-end character in Tour, and she's kind of useful, somewhat, a little bit, not really, not one that I would go out of my way to use, therefore is included in this worst roster. Next up, of course, the more infamous Peach alt, Pink Gold Peach. Now, I really like Pink Gold Peach. I like the character, metallic voice lines. I like the way Pink Gold Peach plays. I like her in that heavyweight metal weight class in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's a cool character. Don't ask, I don't know, but I can admit that Pink Gold Peach is not the greatest character in the Mario universe. She's just a fun character to play for me, but in my opinion, I still think Pink Gold Peach, because of how iconically bad she is, she deserves to be on this list. It really just would not be a worse Mario Kart roster list without her, and I think it makes sense to add Pink Gold Peach in. Next up, we're gonna go slightly more rapid fire, and you guys already know what's happening. We got the 5 babies from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe: Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Baby Peach, Baby Daisy, and Baby Rosalina. Now, I really almost considered excluding Baby Mario and Baby Luigi from this list because I actually like those characters. They're kind of cool. You know, they're kind of adorable. Their cries and their screams are a little annoying. That's about it. I like using Baby Mario and Baby Luigi because they were the original babies, but 100% Baby Peach, Baby Daisy, and Baby Rosalina were gonna be on this list. No questions asked. It just makes sense for me. I never use these characters. I might have played them once just to get the feel for them. Never played them again. Baby Mario and Baby Luigi, they were kind of like last second additions when I couldn't think of anybody else who fit the parameters to make this worst Mario Kart roster, and so I decided to throw them in there just because I really don't play as the baby characters. They're a little bit too lightweight for me. I don't really need to use them that much. They're okay. Then again, I'd just rather play as the adult versions of all these characters. Next is a character that has only been playable in one Mario game, and that is Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, the forgettable Wii U entry, and that is the Sprixie Princess. Yes, the characters that you save from Mario 3D World. Yeah, I'm putting her here. Sorry, Sprixie Princess fans out there. Just, I'm not a fan of the character. She's kind of rare, so that's why I use her in Ultra Smash. It's her only appearance. Might as well play as the character when their only appearance is in that game, but that doesn't mean I like the character. I don't know. It doesn't give me that vibe of a cool Mario Kart character that I want to use. So unfortunately, for all you fans out there, I just had to do it. Sprixie Princess is making this list. Next up, the third row, if you couldn't tell already, is an entire row of Koopalings. That is right. We currently have Larry, Roy, Lemmy, Wendy, Iggy, and Morton. That's right. The one character that's not on this list, greatest Koopaling of all time, Ludwig. Ludwig is the greatest Koopaling. There's no questions asked. You can't even convince me that any of these other Koopalings are any better. It's just not a worthy conversation to have. Ludwig is the best by far, therefore off the list, because I use him all the time in Mario Kart 8 actually. These other Koopalings, they're cool, I guess. They don't have anything unique about themselves. Yes, Lemmy has the massive giant ball. Wendy has her rings. Iggy has wild hair and wild shades. Roy has sick looking shades. Morton has a star right across his eye, and Larry has a star tattoo next to his eye. Sure, you can come up with some unique things, but just nothing compares. These are characters that I would not use over Bowser, Bowser Jr., the Koopa Kid. Sure, they're fantastic bosses in Super Mario Bros. 3 and in all the new Super Mario Bros. U games, but the Koopalings, they just don't make any sense to be playable. If they could do what they did with Smash Ultimate, have them all as a drop-down menu under Bowser Jr., they can only do it in that game because they all fit under the Koopa Clown Car. In this game, they have their own different size, weight, and stats attributes, so it's different. They're all their own unique character, but if they had them all under one costume, under one character, Bowser Jr., that would be beautiful. However, that's just not the case, so I put them all into their own separate slot. That takes up a quarter of the entire roster, those 6 Koopalings. We got 6 characters left, and this is the most miscellaneous row of the entire roster. Let's start off with the first character, the one that was DLC in Wave 4, Birdo. Yes, I honestly was never a fan of Birdo. Sure, I was hyped for everyone that really wanted Birdo to be in this game when Mario Kart 8 Wave 4 happened, and I was happy that Birdo got in, especially with 8 other alternate colors to match Yoshi and Shy Guy. That was phenomenal. However, I'm not a Birdo fan myself. I didn't like Birdo in Double Dash. I didn't like Birdo in Super Mario Bros. 2. I didn't like Birdo in any of the Mario sports games or Mario parties in that sense. I don't use Birdo that much. I don't know why. She's just one of those characters that I just never really got attached to compared to the other characters. So Birdo has to be on this list. I rarely ever use Birdo, especially now that Wave 5 is out and the other DLC characters exist. I'm not really going to probably use Birdo anymore, except if I do, I'll probably use a different color Birdo. Birdo's not my favorite, hence she's going on the worst roster. Next up is that infamous character from Mario Kart 7, Honey Queen. Of course, she has to go on this list. Yes, will it be hype if she gets selected for Wave 6? I don't know, maybe not, depends on who else gets selected. Me, get me in the game. I'm telling you, get me in there, Nintendo. But Honey Queen, yeah, like she just wasn't it. It just doesn't make sense to have her in another Mario Kart game. It was a fun experiment for Mario Kart 7. If they do a Mario Kart Ultimate and bring everybody back, sure, bring her back, but I wouldn't willingly want Honey Queen to return. There's just so many other characters that I think are better roster spots. That's just pretty much it. She's also a massive heavyweight, even bigger than PD Piranha, so it'd be so hard to see. But PD Piranha is just an absolute legend. I love my boy, GameCube bias. What can I say? Honey Queen, I kind of don't got that bias. I'm sorry, Galaxy fans. I got a Honey Queen on this list. Next up is a character that I just don't understand why he's in Mario Kart. We got Lakitu. I don't understand why Nintendo's liking and putting Lakitu in the Mario Kart games. He is the starting guy, and you guys are going to say in the comments, yes, that's Green Shell Lakitu. That's the starting, racer commentator type guy. Red Shell Lakitu is playable. Well, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Lakitu is Lakitu. He's a Koopa with sunglasses or goggles, I guess, with a little cloud. When I say it like that, it sounds cool, but it really isn't. Lakitu just maybe has an annoying voice. There's something about Lakitu that irks me, rubs me the wrong way. It's not Koopa, it's not Paratroopa, it's not Dry Bones, it's not one of those cool Koopas. Lakitu, like, it's just a character that I never really asked to be playable, and I don't think anybody asked to be playable. Like, when I was thinking of characters that I want in a Mario Kart roster, Lakitu's name just never pops up because I just never play as Lakitu, and I don't really see anyone play as Lakitu ever at this point. Lakitu's on this list. 3 more characters left to go. We got some obscure ones. First up is a character that's only been playable in the Mario baseball games, and that is Noki, a character from Super Mario Sunshine, but holy cow, this is probably the most useless and abnormal character in the entire Mario franchise. I just don't understand. The Piantas, they make sense. They're kind of cool. The Nokis, I don't even know what they're supposed to be. They're trash characters in their baseball games, so, it's not fun to choose them to be on your team. The minute you can take them off your team, you pretty much do. I'm not a Noki fan. Some of you might be. Noki could be interesting to use every once in a while. I would never really play as Noki, so therefore it is going on this list. Next up, you would think that this character has never been playable in a game before, but hold up, Super Mario Party had this character playable alongside many others, but this is Goomba. I would not want to play as Goomba in a Mario Kart game. Why? Why would you bring a Goomba into Mario Kart? You could bring in Monty Mole, that's kind of cool. You could bring in Koopa, that's kind of cool, but a Goomba, why? It's just got feet, it's got no hands. How is it supposed to move? Then again, King Boo can rock a cart without having legs. I'm sorry, Goomba's a very iconic enemy, the first enemy you face in Super Mario Brothers and many other games. I understand. Goomba's a iconic enemy, but he just wouldn't be fun to play as. He wouldn't be a fun playable character. I would rather play as like Toad or Toadette at this point. If we want to play as like a mushroom head, you know, I just don't understand. I kind of get why people like Goomba. I think Goomba's an interesting enemy. It's kind of easy and there's a lot of different variations of Goomba that you can do, but just a plain old Goomba as a playable character, I just really can't get behind it. I would never really pick that character. It doesn't make sense to me. It's almost too basic to be in a Mario Kart game. And last but not least, you guys already know how it is. I just kind of sort of excluded non-Mario characters from this list, but there is one I am including into this list because you already know that Isabel is making this list. It wouldn't be a worst Mario Kart roster without the worst Mario Kart character of all time. Isabel's just not the vibe. I'm sorry. Was never playable before Mario Kart, gets into Mario Kart, becomes playable for some reason, and then because of that becomes playable in Smash Bros. She doesn't need to be playable. She needs to run a town. Get back to your island, Isabel. You don't need to be here. Why are you in Mario Kart? Get out of the game. Leave Villager in the game if you want an Animal Crossing rep, but come on, Isabel, I just don't understand. So if I'm gonna have a Mario Kart roster with the worst characters of all time and a character roster to make up the worst overall roster, Isabel is 100% going on this list. And if you agree with me, even if you don't, subscribe.